guys, it's me, Albert. I'm reading again from the awesome, awesome book, Sharcano. Sharks in a volcano. How much more awesome does it get than that? Not very much more awesome. That's how much. We're in chapter 3 today. It's called Bad Water. I like that name. No idea what it means. I mean, I know what it means, but like, whatever. Tom Petty or Tom Waits? Asked the thick-bearded boat captain as he finished yet another can of his favorite cheap beer. His friends called him Garfield, probably because that was his last name. Good chance? Yeah? And, yeah, you knew this was coming. If you saw the previous chapters, you know, because he looked more like the cartoon Fat Cat than anything else. You know, we had Mickey, we had Annie from Little Orphan Annie, specifically pointed out that they're named after those characters. You have, what's the dude's name? Felix, from Felix the Cat. It's all cartoon characters. I'm just going to imagine all these people as their characters that they're named after. Like, Mick Cathcart is actually a cartoon mouse. It's not some suave TV news reporter guy. He's a cartoon. He is Mickey Mouse. In my head, that's how this is going from now on. You gotta admit that's a tough one. They're way too different, Garfield, replied Dr. Agnes Brack, as she checked the readings on a computer monitor. You just picked them because they have both the same name. You just picked them because they both have the first same name. That doesn't count. Agnes Brack was an athletic slice of woman heaven. I guess there's a different heaven for women than for guys. You know, God's kind of sexist. Sorry, guys. That's how it goes. You guys don't get to go to man heaven. Anyway, she wasn't the prissy type and rarely wore makeup or did her hair, but somehow she retained a remarkably well-kept appearance. None of her colleagues knew this, and she would not be the one to tell them, but she had been homecoming queen back in high school. She rocked a Farrah Fawcett style that never lost its flavor, but did so in an unhurried, uncomplicated manner. She wasn't a girly girl, but she was a looker, so she had to work twice as hard to get where she was now at the head of the Well-Eye Oceanographic Society. Basically, she's like the straw man, not, bimbo in this. Because when you're a dude and you're a writer and you think that all men are pigs, and therefore you're a pig, you see all women as, like, just objects, but then you have to... Objects. Wow. Who pronounces the word like that? Yeah, objects. You see women as objects, but then you have to write the story and they have to have a strong female lead, but they're still freaking hot. But they're like, they don't have to try to be hot now. That's who this character is. Just so we know, we're on the same page. She wasn't a girly girl, but she was... Oh, I read that already. They're not that different. Stop avoiding the question, Agnes. Oh, wow, she said, whistling. What now? These readings are ridiculous, she said, checking facts and figures on previous notes she had strewn about her. She was messy, but so was Einstein, which was a little ditty she used on people when they asked her to clean up her workspace. She would say, Einstein said, if a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, of what, then, is an empty desk a sign? Didn't say it had to be empty. Said it had to be neat. There's a difference. Don't just throw everything off the desk like, here, just throw it. Woo! I need those. I'll go pick them up later. Point being, dumb argument. This would mean that, no way. No way. What? What? Tell me already. The water temperature has risen by 10 degrees, and not just in this immediate area. If the data coming in is solid, then whatever is happening is affecting the water worldwide, which is unbelievable to say the least. What's happening? What's causing the fish to die off then? What about the burns? Is the water hot enough to scorch them? No, it couldn't be. Scorch marks looks as if they were done up close, like they interacted with open flames. The temperature burst would kill them and maybe affect the saline levels as well. But burn them like what we've seen? I don't think so. So we don't know nothing, do we? We're at the beginnings of our understanding, Garfield. We may never really know, but we can keep looking, right? Suddenly a massive bump rocked the boat. Agnes and Garfield grabbed bits of the ship to steady themselves. Then the foulest smell rose up from the water and hung like a cloud around the boat as it drifted in the middle of the ocean. "What is that?" Agnes asked. "Have a look, Doc," Garfield replied, pointing to the ocean. Agnes stood and looked out into the dark green water as thousands and thousands of fish, great and small, bobbed up to the surface, dead and scorched as if a massive blowtorch had had its way with them. Man, phraseology on that. Had its way with them kind of implies something sexual, right? But with a blowtorch. No. Just no. They got burned. "This isn't normal," Garfield said, shaking his head. "No, this is not," Agnes said. "No kidding. I agree with you. Thousands of burned ships that have been violated by a blowtorch are not normal." She picked one up, but it hissed as it scorched her hand, and she dropped it back into the steaming water. Did it, like a snake, did it hiss, or is it burning her? I'm confuzzled. She turned back into the boat, spotted a net, and grabbed it by a metal pole. She dipped the net in the water, scooped up 3 of the fried fish, then dumped them out onto the deck. Dinner time! That'd be really awesome if you just, pull fried fish out of the water. Just, the whole sea a giant fry daddy machine. Man, that's a disturbing image. Forget I said that. Agnes tossed the net aside and slipped on some green latex gloves as Garfield walked over to the fish. "Don't touch them," she reminded him. "Don't worry, wasn't planning on it." Agnes grabbed a small doctor's satchel and sat next to the fish. She took out a scalpel and made an incision in the belly of the small Sierra mackerel. Steam bellowed from the insides. The doc grabbed a pair of locking forceps and inserted it into the cavity, then ratcheted them open. She peered inside and crinkled her nose with confusion. "It's cooked," she said, surprised. "The insides are cooked." Garfield shook his head. "I used to love mackerel. Don't really have a stomach for it anymore." "Why not? You used to eat your mackerel raw?" "No, but I'd sure want to know how it was cooked before I ate it." It's so weird. What kind of an exchange is that? Of course he never ate his mackerel raw. He's just saying it's freaky that they're coming up fried in the ocean. "Fair enough," Agnes said as she turned and removed the latex gloves. "Turn us around. Let's head back to the beach. Make sure we don't shake apart, huh?" "You can't be serious." Garfield headed to the controls at the front of the small motorboat. This boat may look like old pieces of wood glued together, but it'll hold tight in a hurricane. And has, by the way. Was left to me by my grandfather. He had fond memories of this old piece of crap, and he wouldn't give it up for the entire world, even if it cost him more to repair the thing than to buy a new boat. I can understand why now. It's called loyalty, Doc. Right. Oh, and Garfield? Yeah? Petty when I'm happy, waits when I'm sad. Man, I'm glad we answered that mystery. Whew. No fair, you have to pick one. I picked one at a time. Best you're going to get out of me, she smiled. Ugh, women. Yeah, right? Screw them. Agnes concentrated on a portion of the towering chunk of megalodon carcass as she cut into the rotting white belly, spilling ugly, fatty pieces. She shook her head at what the meat told her. Just freaking out thinking about this lady getting talked to by meat. It's like she makes an incision in the shark and then I'm just imagining Muppet style, it starts opening up. Well, see, there was this giant volcano, see, and it came up and there was all these lava sharks, right? And they started biting me and burning me at the same time. I know that's not what it's saying, but that's in my mind. This big boy is cooked too, she said as the smell hit her. She was a scientist, but she was still a human, and her nose worked all too well. I'm surprised. A male voice took her by surprise. Everybody's surprised. Why is that? She turned to come face to face with America's best-known newsman, for better or worse. Because when I pictured Agnes Brack in my head, I saw a dumpy, four-eyed, hairy-chinned troglodyte, Mick explained, walking closer to her with that hip shimmy that brings gals' attention to a man's package. This is our hero! I cannot believe I'm saying this, but according to the book's synopsis, this guy is a hero! I never wanted to punch someone that didn't exist more in my life. But you are no troglodyte, not by a long shot. Really? That's what you're going with? Yes, I'm also wondering, how is this a good opener? Hairy-chinned troglodyte? Ugh. Mick Cathcart, he said, extending his hand in a suave gesture. Yeah, I know who you are. Oh, so you're a fan. Great! No, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. Agnes shot back and started walking up the sand dune to escape the noxious perimeter of Mick Cathcart. Even the book knows he's a douchebag! She's fine. Like, she's digging around in the shark and it's rotting open. She's like, I can get through this, but can't handle Mick Cathcart. He's worse than a rotting megalodon carcass. It's bad. Listen, Doc, let's you and me grab some dinner and start again, huh? He said, catching up to her. I'm sorry, my openings aren't as good as my closings. No freaking kidding! You can close by punching her in the face and it will be better than your opening. Not saying that you should do that. Whatever. Do you remember the report you made on August 28th, 2009? Well, I can't say I do. You ran a story on Japan's dolphin fishery scandal. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. You said Walleye Labs was one of the biggest buyers of dolphin meat, and you questioned why a pharmaceutical company would want or need so many dolphins. Then you further went on to state that any company that supports rampant animal murder, as you called it, should be barred from working on American soil. Oh. He flinched. It's sinking in now. She doesn't like him. No kidding! No, she doesn't like you! You called her a hairy-chinned troglodyte! That's a good way to turn women off! Pro tip! You want to get the women? Don't call them hairy-chinned troglodytes! Well, I work for... Wow, that's hard to say. Well, I work for Walleye. Well, I work for Walleye, pal, and your stupid 3-minute piece hurt us on subsidies because Doctor Who decided to distance himself from the Oceanographic Society for a while. And that sucks because we were on the verge of some amazing breakthrough in the migration of great whales. Doctor Who! Yeah, he's in this book. Spelled differently, but he's in here. Which had to be started over... I'm going to read his name like that every time, too. Which had to be started all over again when Doctor Who finally came back around and approved an influx of funds. Look, I didn't mean to stir anything up, okay? Just for the record, you were wrong. As far as I know, Walleye Labs is not buying dolphin carcasses because you're right. There is no reason a pharmaceutical or any of his shoot-off corporations, of which I am one, should need dolphin meat. So you ran a specious piece of libel and slander on your news program that ended up getting people fired. Because of that, and the fact that your show uses crappy graphics from the 80s, I hate you. Good day. I love this lady. She's awesome. Agnes finished with a flourish and stormed off. Dr. Brack, what's happening here? The people deserve to know! He shouted, trying to assert control over the deteriorated situation. The water's bad, idiot, she shot over her shoulder as she dipped beyond sight over the sand dune. Oh boy, Mick shook his head, examining the rotting carcass. It's not my lucky day. Hey, Chief! Oh, sorry, reading this guy as Southern. Hey, Chief! Called Perry as he bounded over the sand dunes that Agnes had disappeared over. Any luck with the doc? Yeah, kinda sorta, but I think I need some time to ease out the kinks. Mick spun and spun it like a pro. I hope he gets eaten. I hope he gets eaten by a lava shark. Well, I got us a nice piece of interview if you want it. What you got? I found us the kid who found the thing. He's been interviewed before. What the heck, it's something, yeah? Show me, Mick requested, and Perry led him over the sand dune to where Felix, or rather F.A. El Jefe, was waiting for them, chewing on a watermelon slice the size of his face. This is Felix, Perry said. No, man, not Felix, he exclaimed with his mouth full of watermelon mush. No, Felix, not me. Like spitting out seeds and stuff. Love that image. Right, sorry, mate. I'm slipping into that Australian accent. He's supposed to be a southern. I'm not saying mate. Right, sorry. Perry turned to Mick and shrugged. It's F, as in F.A. El Jefe. He's the boss, or so he claims. Not sure what he's the boss of, but he's all we got. Man, my accent's slipping something bad. Forgive me, for I have not done a very good accent. Okay, F.A., how goes it? Mick asked. You give the money and I talk. Understand, buddy? F.A.'s English was fine, but accent to all heck. Still, the way he rubbed his fingertips in the international gesture for money could have cleared up any confusion. Perry, give this boy $100. Let's start there and work our way up, Mick said, and F.A.'s mouth dropped wide with the thought of where they could end up monetarily. Sharcano! It continues to be awesome. Mick Cathcart continues to be a douchebag. If he does not die at the end, I'll be super disappointed. But it's fun watching him be a complete idiot. The book even knows he's an idiot. It's like, you're an idiot, dude. Next time, Chapter 4. You want to read it for yourself. It's awesome. Links in the description underneath the video. Check it out. Click through Amazon, or you can go to Barnes & Noble, I'm sure, and get it there too, other places. But Amazon's the link we have. And just check it out for yourself. It's awesome. It is totally worth the $5 for the Kindle copy. Or if you want to pick up your hardcover, that's cool too. But get it. Get your hands on this book. You need to own this book. Albert out.